When I first started with hacking, I wanted to look like Mr. Robot, do all the crazy hacking stuff, and mostly it turned out something like this. But as time went on, I learned more and more about hacking and what kind of mistakes I made. Hello world, I'm Zenit, your friendly neighborhood hacker. In this video I want to show you the kind of mistakes that are usually done while hacking and how you can fix them and put them together into a process. Now, for my first hacking challenge, I just opened up HackTheBox. I started the machines and I went into my hacking machine only to have no idea what I was actually attacking. The first mistake that you can do while hacking is to actually not do any reconnaissance. Now, reconnaissance is the first step you should be doing when you're trying to hack any kind of system. The goal here is to find out as much as possible about the system and company you're trying to attack without having to directly interact with them. Some ways to do that would be to look up job listings and check out which programming language and tech stacks the company wants from new applicants as a base requirement. You're trying to find out what you're actually attacking. Is it a website? Is it a server? What kind of website or server or machine is it that you're trying to attack? Is there information about this kind of system that you're trying to attack out there? Have some user accounts, emails, and telephone numbers been leaked about the company you're trying to target? For example, when you're trying to hack a retired HackTheBox challenge, the website usually tells you what kind of challenge it is, what technology is involved. The statistics show you what kind of challenge this is. So you get a glimpse, an idea of what you're actually attacking, and well, you also get the IP address. Now, if you know that this is, for example, a web challenge, you can go and try out the website. But sadly, I had no luck on this challenge. So I could go on and try everything possible, like every possible port, or maybe find something else, or maybe just give up because it's too complicated. And here's the second mistake that a lot of people do. They do not perform some scanning of any form. When you're trying to hack something, you have to scan it accordingly. For example, in my HackTheBox challenge that I'm gonna show you right now, I want to first know about all the open ports. So first of all, I will do a full port scan and also show what kind of versions and OSs are running. And if I know that there is a website involved, which I know from my reconnaissance phase, I can also do some scanning with Nikto, a website scanner. Now, after I got those results, I can see, for example, that it's running an Express server, it's running Linux, and I can also see all the versions up here and maybe some other specific details to some of the ports. So what do we do now? Just trying to attack it blindly? Well, no, that's actually mistake number 3, which is to not do any vulnerability assessment. But before we continue, please make sure to check out my Discord. There is currently a challenge running where you can send in your hacking desktop setup and I will rate it and review it in a future video at the end of this month. Back to vulnerability assessment. I usually do a quick Nmap scan with the vuln scripts enabled, which will automatically check for vulnerabilities. So now that we assessed all the vulnerabilities and maybe even found some CVEs for this specific version, it's time to call it a day. Well, actually, that's mistake number 4, which is to not actually exploit the vulnerability. And this is the fun part. This is the Mr. Robot part. This is where you're gonna write your code, execute your code, try to open a reverse shell, or do something with Metasploit. What you want to do here is map a quick attack route. So for this challenge, I have a NoSQL injection as well as a XXE attack. So I know that once I'm logged in, I can upload a file, an XML, I can abuse and maybe try to open a reverse shell. So that would be like my map that I have in mind that I could attack this machine. So all I need to do now is trying to log in with the NoSQL injection. So this should be pretty simple. After I'm in, there is like a upload button. If I see the upload button, it wants an XML with this specific structure. So I'm going to create an XML and I will see that it reflects it to me. Now, after that I see that it reflects it to me, I'm going to create a XML to read out a file, namely etc_passvd, and then I see, oh, it reflects it to me as well. So now we're back in this stage. We want to open a reverse shell, and what we have to do now is find another way in, because that's mistake number 5. Once you've done the first exploitation, you usually have to repeat the cycles of reconnaissance, scanning, vulnerability assessment and exploitation over and over again until you've built this kind of chain of exploits that will lead you to your success. But before we do that, don't forget to hit the like button and leave a thanks if you enjoyed the video so far. So what does this mean? Well, we want to do some enumeration in here, back to step 1, reconnaissance or scanning. We want to maybe try to read the files of this web application. But where are these stored? Well, usually if the website is badly programmed, you can just cause an error, and here you see this path. So this is where the application is hosted, and usually with Express.js, the main application is called server.js. So let's try reading that, and once we read that, we can see, oh well, that was actually the code. So what's in here? They're using the serialize function, which is a very bad function because it can lead to a lot of exploits. So maybe we can look at what they're serializing. They're serializing the cookie. So let's take a look at the cookie. We are now repeating the enumeration scanning phase, and once we look at that, we see, oh, it's actually a JSON that's converted into URL encoded characters. So let's try abuse this serialize function by running an arbitrary command that will create a reverse shell to us. So here I'm forging the command, I'm sending it with my cookie, and boom, you can see over here I have my reverse shell. Now, this is where a lot of people would stop because, well, we have the reverse shell, the exploit has worked. But we can go a little bit further and repeat the steps again, enumerate the system and find out that there is a MongoDB, and then check out what's in that MongoDB, and oh look, the users are in here. So what do these users tell us? Well, there is the username and the password. Let's try if they're suffering from password reuse, because the username is the same. So let's try it. Boom, I'm root. Now all we need to do is report this to Hack-the-Box, and they are proud of us because we solved this challenge. And do not forget that you need to repeat this over and over and over again for any new system or application, or even part of the application that you encounter. For example, we encountered a new backend admin part. We had to do some enumeration of that as well. Then we had to do some enumeration of the machine. Once we hacked the machine, we had to do some enumeration of the database and machine. And then we could finally be a root user. So those 4 things were actually 4 of the 5 stages of a penetration test, and you can find out more of all the stages for a penetration test in this video right over here. Bye bye.